Hello student, I welcome you in this video solution for the NEET 2021 paper code N6 from the part of Nana Group of Education. Would like to take an opportunity to brief you about each and every question and their origin. So here we can see the first question as the question number 151 is right there. Sphincter vodi is present at. It is present as a junction of the hepatopancreatic duct and duodenum. So of course, the answer 1, which is correct by the time. It is a straight way given in the NCERT. The next question is receptor for sperm binding in mammals are present on. So here the answer is the zona pellucida. It is given in the terms of the particular diagram of the NCERT. And here we can understand not the depth of the concept that is given in the NCERT regarding the sperm binding concept. But of course, in the mammals, to avoid the polyspermy, usually that process takes place. Now the next question is 153. Method column question is there, which is more often being asked in the NEET examination. Metamerism, you know the feature which is of the annelid, then the arthropoda, and then the chordata. So here we can observe it. The metamerism should correlate with the A to 3, right? Then the canal system. Of course, canal system is exclusively observed in the poriferans. Complete, of course, it is a feature of the ctenophora. And finally, in nidoblast, it is of course, the feature of the coelenterate. So if you correlate the things all, again, we can understand for this particular question, this would be the answer, right? A for 3, then B for 4, and C for 2, and finally D for 1. Here we go further for the next one. Again, the method column is there. We need to list out with these two. Again, it is a purely NCERT based question is there. So here you can find that if I look it into this particular question, so concernly A, that is Aspergillus niger. So Aspergillus niger yields citric acid. So A should be related with the 3. And now, of course, as per the given option, here we can go acetobacter aceti. It is simply reflecting. B should be concerned to 1. And now you can see if before approaching to the rest of the answer, if I look at the options being given, it must be A should be with the 3. Then in that case, the fourth option would be correct. B would be with the 1 and C would be 4. C would be 4. Butyric acid. Again, the name is still suggesting Clostridium butylicum. So butyric acid. And D lactic acid is that yielded by the Lactobacillus bacilli. So here we can decorrelate with the 2. Done. Here we go further, beta. Next is the fruit fly has 8 chromosome 2n that is deployed in each cell. During interphase of mitosis, in the number of the chromosome of the G1 phase is 8. What will be the number of the chromosome after S phase? As you can see in a fruit fly, the chromosome number is suggested to be the 8 as a diploid state is being reflecting. And as we know, G1 and S substages has the same number of the chromosome, but DNA is doubled. So it will remain as same. Next question is Succus entericus. Everyone out of us knows it is an intestinal juice. It is a straightway and the one of the easiest question in this particular theme. Next is centriole undergoes duplication during. Of course, that goes by the time of the S phase of the cell division. Which stage of meiotic prophase shows terminalization of chiasmata as in the distinctive feature? So of course, it is a dikinesis, which is also called the terminalization process. Again, the straight way direct answer of the NCERT. The next is read the following statement, and then we can simply understand how many statements are correct. So, like as they are asking about the correct only. So here you can see, if I see metagenesis observed in the helminthes, no, not at all. Here we go. Roundworm have organ system level of body organization. Yeah, they do have it. Then the complete present in the ctenophore help in digestion. Yeah. Then next is water vascular system is characteristic of the echinoderm. Yeah, it is, of course. Then in that case, we can simply correlate that this option would be considered to be the correct one. The partial pressure in millimeter of Hg of the oxygen and carbon dioxide CO2 at alveoli, the site of diffusion are, we know already PO2 at the alveoli site of the diffusion is a 95 mmHg. and PO2 is 40 mmHg. So PCO2 the other, that should be. So the answer would be this. Okay. So here we go. Next, which one of the following organism bears hollow and pneumatic lung bones? So here we can see, if out of these all we can understand, neophrein is none but the, of course, the bird, and that should be finding the pneumatic bone by the time. Now the Dobson unit is of course for the ozone, right? It is again based on the ecology section. And that we can see the concern, the thickness of the ozone is a column of air from ground to top of the atmosphere is measured in terms of Dobson unit. Now the next is 163. Match list 1 and list 2. You can observe it in the initial question. We would have been observed number of the question coming as a match the column based question now. So here is that we need to understand every word. What is meaningful for the entry of the sperm through the cervix, and that is blocked by the time. IUDs, that is intrauterine devices, phagocytosis of the sperm within the uterus. Vasectomy, removal of the vas deferens, and tubectomy, of course, the removal of the, that is fallopian tube, right? Cutting, I could say. So at that theme, this option 1 would be correct. Here we go. Which enzyme is responsible for conversion of inactive fibrinogen to the fibrin? Of course, thrombin, that plays a major role by the time of the blood clotting. Here we go. The organelles that are included in the endomembrane systems are, of course, the purely NCERT baseline only. That endomembrane system include endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complex, lysosome, and vacuoles. Here, guy, go to the next question. During the process of gene amplification using PCR, if very high temperature is not maintained in the beginning, then which of the following steps of PCR will be affected first? So by that time, usually the denaturation effect, because that require the high temperature, like in high temperature, that is more than 90 degrees centigrade, is not maintained, denaturation is not possible. And usual temperature that is being required, that is a 60 to 70 degrees centigrade in between, and the optimum is considered to 72 degrees centigrade. The next question is, which is the only enzyme that has capability to catalyze initiation, elongation, and termination in the process of transcription in prokaryote? So we know DNA dependent RNA polymerase, that is the only one which is finding this capacity, right? So next we go with erythropoietin hormone, which stimulates RBC formation, is produced by. It is again the repeated question is being asked earlier too. So like if we see the GGA cell, that is juxtaglomerular apparatus cell of the kidney, erythropoietin is secreted and modified by the modified smooth muscle cell of the afferent arteriole, right? That we call this JGA cell. Now next is chronic autoimmune disorder affecting neuromuscular junction leading to fatigue, weakening, and paralysis of the skeletal muscle is called. It is a simple story of the myasthenia gravis, again given in the skeletal system of the portion of the NCERT only. Which of the following characteristic is incorrect with respect to cockroach? It is quite tricky question, and of course the option, like if we see, the fourth is considered to be the right one, because a ring of the gastric ceca is present at the junction of the midgut and hindgut, right? And rest, like as per this particular point, they asked about the incorrect. So that is what the incorrect, and rest three are the absolutely correct statements. So here we go to the next. If adenine is a 30%, A bonds with the T and G bonds with the C. So if A is 30, of course T would be 30, and rest 40% would be divided by the 2020. So that way, if I go observe, so this particular option would be the correct only. For effective treatment of disease, early diagnosis and understanding its pathophysiology is very important. Which of the following molecular diagnostic technique is very useful for early detection? It is the ELISA technique. It is again given in the NCERT only. Again, next question. Identify the incorrect pair, right? So if we see the incorrect pair, it is again the biomolecule based chapter question. And toxin, aberrin is a perfect lactine. Again, even the previous in the NEET 2020 is one question asked over the same. And if we see drug is not the racine. So of course, this is what the answer as per the question asked. Venereal disease can spread through. Of course, if we observe the thing, one statement is quite, expecting the missing out over here. So at this point of time, we should go with the 2 because transfusion of the blood from infected person is expectedly going with, right? And the of course that can also participate in the way. That is the kissing. But of course, the sterile needle will not transmit to the same reason being we are using in the clinical purposes the sterile needles. Next question. With regard to insulin, choose correct. Okay. So here we can observe it that if C peptide is not present in the mature insulin, yeah, of course, correct. NCERT based questions only. Then next is the pro-insulin has C peptide. Yeah, it has. The like if I ask about the insulin produced by RNA recombinant technology has C peptide, no, not at all. And then finally, a peptide and B peptide insulin are interconnected by the dicellular bridge. Yeah, again, the structure even given in the NCERT. So here is this one. Next we go. Which of the following statement wrongly represent the nature of the smooth muscle? Fine. They are involuntary. Like wrongly we are asking, smooth muscles are involuntary only. So since the statement is correct, but it's not our answer because they are asking wrongly. Communication among the cell is performed by intercalated. Intercalated disc is the basic feature of the cardiac muscle, not of this. So of course we have found out the answer, but let us discuss the list. They have no station. Yeah, of course they are the reason they call the smooth muscle. This muscle are present in the wall of the blood vessel, of course. So the answer would be 2. Here we go with the next. Select the favorable condition required for the formation of the oxyhemoglobin. Of course, oxygen should be more in that criteria. So these two options would be ruled out very first, right? Then in that case, if we go with the temperature would be of course required as low. So simply we can come out with this answer when the high PO2, low PCO2, less H per day. Since PCO2 is less, of course H per day would be less and the temperature would be less too. Next we go with in a cross between a male and female, both heterozygous for sickle cell anemia gene, what percentage of the progeny will be diseased? So if both are the heterozygous, that is suppose capital A small a, then in such case, we know already there are the 4 options would be coming A, capital A small a, capital A small n, small a small a. So of course, we know the 25% probability that will come after because it will not reflect in the this dominant state. Of course, that is heterozygous state. Person with the AB blood group are also called universal recipient. This is due to. So here we can see in the AB blood group, both the antigens would be there, but of course no antibody would be there. So the answer is reflecting simply as a third. Next we go with which of the following is not an objective of the biofortification crop. Biofortification means additional nutrient that should be supplied. So improvement resistant to disease is no more the feature of it because they are asking about vitamin content, protein content, mineral content. That enrichment is called basically the biofortification. Next we go by a specific recognition sequence identified by endonuclease to make cuts at a specific position within the DNA is, of course, the palindromic nucleotide sequence. They are also called the restriction sequences, right? Then next is method calling. Again, you can observe method following questions are more. Physalia is a Portugal man of war. Limulus, king crab, right? Pearl oyster is a pink tada, and Encyclopedic is the hookworm. So here we can observe it where we need to identify. Of course, the A is with the 2. So out of this all, this seems to be answer because if we see A is given same in the 4th as well, B is given same in the 4th well, but if we see C 4, so of course that will be reflecting and D1 it will be reflecting. So as per this question, this answer should be correct. Now the next is which one of the following is example of the hormone releasing IOD? Of course, Lengristral basically 20 is the basic answer for the same. Again, the core NCERT based questions only. Rest all are the basically copper wires, and they are not hormone releasing. Which one of the following belongs to the family Masidae? Again, the living world based chapter is there. Is a house fly, domestic, Musca domesticus. That is scientific name is there. Which of the following RNA is not required for the synthesis of the protein? Of course, the like if we talk about interference RNA is not required. Rest 3 would be required as per the moment. And we can see the section A seems to be quite easy. And if we now just look into the section B, statement 1, the codon AUG codes for methionine and phenylalanine. So statement 2, AAA and AAG both code for the amino acid lysine. So if I look into, AUG codes for methionine, but not for the phenylalanine. Then in that case, A statement would be incorrect. But of course, the second statement is correct. It's again the purely NCERT based statement only. Now, next is during muscular contraction, which of one of the following events occur. So if we look by out of these all the particular four options, so which are the events that are occurring in the correct sequence, I would say, correct order. Okay, correct answers only they are asking simply. So H zones disappear, yeah, of course. Then the next is A band widens. No, there is no change in the length of the A band. Then C, I band reduces. Of course, it reduces. Then D, myosin hydrolyzes ATP, releasing the ADP and ATP and inorganic phosphate. Of course, it is. And E, Z line attached to the actin are pulled inwards. Yeah, of course. So if I look at all the available option, then I need to rule out where the B is. This could not be, then this could not be, then this could not be, then the only option which is available, right? Next is question number 188. Again, it's a ecology based question. It seems to be again easy. Allen rule is based over the polar seal, right? And if you talk about physiological adaptation, it is for the kangaroo rat, which does not drink water. Then the C, behavioral adaptation, is again shown by the desert lizard. And D, that is a biochemical. And of course, as a marine fish, which are at the like high pressure area, and they have the specific enzyme for the same. It is again given as an in-text question of the NCERT. So again, we can simply conclude the option 2 would be correct. Next is identify the types of the cell junction that help to stop the leakage of the substance across the tissue. Facilitation of the communication with neighboring cells via rapid transfer of ion and molecules. So here we can conclude the this statement. That is what the tight junction and gap junction respectively. Of course, it is a animal tissue which is called the structural organization of the cell animal cell chapter. So that is being given there. Adhering junction helps to stop the leakage of substance across the tissue, and gap junction help in the facilitation of the communication. Like it's like the plasmodesmata. So here we go. Then next, again it is a math column question. Again you are finding it. So if we talk about the sternum, again we know that is the flat bone, and if we talk about a scapula, it is a triangular flat bone. So let's relate it. A with the 4, A with the 4 is given at two places. Then these two would be ruled out. And then is this any common thing is there? No. C with the 2, C with the 2, C with the 2 is right there. So A with the 4 and B with the 3, that fibrous joint is there, right? And then the C2 that we discussed already, D1 vertebral column indicating with the cartilaginous joint, right? So the option 3 would be correct. Here we go with the next. Again, the math column question is filariasis. We know about it that it is a Vaucheria bankfructi. So A with the 3. So A with the 3, if I look into it, is the only option which is available. Then we can correlate to the next all. C with the 4, antimastabilitica, creating the amoebiosis. Human health and disease chapter is there in relation. D1, ringworm, of course. D with the 2 only. D with the ringworm with the trichophyton. And pneumonia, that with the C with the 1. C with the 1, right? It is shifting some way. So you need to understand A with the 3, A with the 3, B with the 4, C with the 1, and D with the 2. Done? I'm sure. Everyone? Okay. Next we go. Which of the following is not a step in the multiple ovulation embryo transfer technology MOET? It is again the most important question given in the NCERT only. Cow yield about 6 to 8 egg. No. Not a step they are talking about. That means since it is a step, it should not be considered. It is a step, should not be considered. Cows are fertilized by the artificial insemination only, AI technique. Fertilized eggs are transferred to surrogate mother at 8 to 32 cell stage. Yeah, of course. Cow desperate hormone having LH like activity for superovulation. No, it is not correct. So of course, it is the answer for this particular question. Following are the statement with reference to lipids. Okay, then they want to choose the correct answer, right? Fine. Let us discuss about one by one. Lipids having only single bond are called unsaturated fatty acid. No, not at all. That should be double or triple only. Less than a phosphate, of course, is it correct? Trihydroxypropane is a glycerol. Yeah, it is clear. Palmitic acid is a 20 carbon atom, including the carboxylic carbon. No. Arachidonic acid has a 16 carbon. No. So then this would be the answer. Here we go. Next, assertion reason. That was a concernly earlier to the just restricted to the AIMS examination, but at this time it was asked in the NEET examination. A person goes to high altitude and experience altitude sickness with symptom like breathing difficulty and heart palpitation. You know, this is governed again in the ecology section. Due to low atmospheric pressure at high altitude, the body does not get sufficient oxygen. Yeah, both are true and it is the correct explanation too. So in that way, the option 4 would be correct. Here I go further. Which of the following about histone is wrong? Histone, you know, nuclear material binding protein, genetic material binding protein, and these are the structure which are positively in charge. So if they ask about which of the following is wrong, so the pH of histone is slightly acid. Never, never, never. That should be the answer by the time because they are basically alkaline in nature, right? Rest all our 3 points are correct. They make the octamer of H2A, H2B, H3, H4. Provided these all the particular histone protein are in the 2 in the count. So next, again the method column question is there. Here you can see that adaptive radiation, again it is reflecting in the evolution chapter, Darwin Finches. Convergent evolution, again we can see B with the 3, that is the wings of butterfly and bird, right? It is the convergent evolution. What is the divergent evolution here in relation? Again, that the 2, that is bones of forelimb and man and whale. And lastly, evolution by anthropogenic action, that is the man-made action basically, right? So of course it is reflecting as a use of the pesticide and a herbicide. Next question is, following are the statement about prostomium of the earthworm, right? Let us see. It serves as a covering for mouth. Yeah, it is correct. It helps to open, because they're asking the correct only, no? Yeah, it helps to open cracks in the soil into which it crawls. Yeah, it is again given in the NCERT. It is one of the sensory structure. Yeah, it is there. It is the first body. No, peristemium is the first body segment basically. So it is not. So out of these all, if wherever the D is mentioned, we should ruled out. Ruled out. So and A is correct. So since the fourth option would be correct. Here we go with the next. Which of these is not an important component of initiation of parturition in human? Okay. Then in that case, the release of prolactin is the answer by the time, because prostaglandins and oxytocin both are directly correlating with the causing the contraction by during the parturition, and of course the ratio of the estrogen and progesterone that plays a vital role as well. Now the adenosine deaminase deficiency results into, again this is a very very important question, that is dysfunction of the immune system, right? It was firstly observed in the one 4-year old girl of the Sri Lanka. Which of the following secrete the hormone relaxin during the later phase of pregnancy? Of course, it is correlated with the corpus luteum function. And I'm more than sure everyone understood this, all the questions of the zoology, and they were quite easy. We could not observe it, the question on the difficult side. Thank you very much.